What's up, everybody? Well, today I thought I'd go ahead and show to you another rainbow that's in my collection. Here I present to you something I've been wanting to get for a while now. Here I present to you my Rainbow D4c SE. This is one of the later models of the D4 style rainbows, right as they started calling them the SE, long before the E series came out. And I've always wanted to get one, but I could never find one affordable in my area. Either if you want one that runs perfect, they were stupidly expensive, or if you got one that was fully affordable, it's just ratted out and was used and abused. And actually that was the case for when I got this one. So I actually got this from a local seller off OfferUp who sold this for 80 bucks. And when I got it, the whole thing was literally looks like it was found under the depths of the ocean, because this thing was definitely used heavily. And I could tell because the motor was howling very bad, so I had to tear down the entire motor and rebuild the motor with all brand new bearings. So now it runs very smooth. And the power brush definitely needed some love. And I even had the cord replaced. So after all that, here it is, ready to make its first official run since I rebuilt the motor. And I kid you not, this is going to be the first official test run of this thing later on when I get to that part of the video, because I haven't even ran this thing since I rebuilt the motor. So I'm eager to see just how it'll run. But first, let's give a walkthrough of the machine. The SE series definitely gave the regular D4C model some nice upgrades, such as the hose. This is the first design of the electric hose that has the cord for the power brush running through the hose, and up to the new design handle grip, which definitely feels much better than holding on to the wand down here. And it gets connected right up there where it runs down into the power brush, which this power brush, similar design to the original D4C. As you can see, it's got, although it's a little bit different, and in fact this is one of the newer models where it has the capability to stand up on its own instead of just reclining back real simply. You have to step down just to get it to release, but not a major deal. But when I got this, it did not look as fancy as this. I had to replace this little air valve right here for the carpet selector. Basically this little piece right here that goes from low, medium, and high. This is basically just airflow relief for different piles of carpet. I always like to leave it on the low for the pile of this carpet. And for the carpet I have no problem with vacuum sticking to it as much as other people who have thick medium pile carpets do. So right here you have your little rainbow emblem right there. You have your little indicator light to let you know that the power brush has power. And also you have a little reset button right here that is there in case you get a jam in the brush roll and it shuts the motor off. You could just press that and it's back in business. You can definitely tell the air channel is aftermarket because it doesn't even have the gold outline and pinstriping and lettering. So this was an aftermarket piece. And well, let's go ahead and tip this thing underneath. And the bottom sole plate definitely was a used part I got off eBay. I didn't trust using the old one because it had so much rust. I was worried it was about to erode away. So I put this on, and now it definitely looks a lot nicer than it originally did. But anyway, here is the brush roll on it. This is actually a CWP replacement that I'm deciding to run because I have my other style rainbows that have the same power brush design, that have the brush roll with just beater bars. This one has all strips and no beater bars. And admittedly, the bristles are a little bit stiffer than the genuine brush roll with beater bars does. And since you have nothing but strips, this would definitely help when it comes to picking up things like pet hair and stuff like that. And definitely the bristles are very nice and long. So this definitely sounds like an upgraded brush roll. So we'll just have to see how it works later on. So let's go ahead and tip this guy back up. And let's go ahead and go over here to the motor unit. And there's your little warning label that you have to use the period correct power brush only, which, by the way, the power brush, as it says right there, it also shows along the back here is the model R4375C, 120 volts, 60 hertz. That's 1.9 amp motor, almost 2 amps, but just about 0.5 more amps than the R2800 or R1650 motor. So definitely is a little bit more powerful than its predecessor, but not as much until they later came out with the PN2 style. But that's another video. So here is all your attachments. Let me see if I can get this out. Here's your crevice tool. This is not a genuine rainbow part. It's just a generic replacement. I think this is actually a Eureka crevice tool, but it does fit this, so I am running it. Also, you do have your dusting brush. This does look to be another generic replacement that I just had on hand and decided to throw on for demonstration purposes. It does fit. And right here is a nice little separator brush that you can get to clean out your water separator, because they will eventually get caked up with a lot of dirt and grime buildup. And right here you have your upholstery tool, another generic part, and then here's your bare floor tool. I'll show you these things later in their appropriate parts of the video. You have your power switch right on top of the motor unit. And you have your nice little rainbow SE lettering. Definitely one thing to tell these things apart from the regular D4c. One other thing that makes these SEs different from the regular D4c is basically the trim of the machine, and also the wheel caddy as well. As you can see, it has a little bit lighter of a wood trim. This is not real wood, it's just adhesive, but it has a little bit lighter trim than the regular D4Cs do. You see, this one's old enough to have even the trim on the wheel caddy before they eventually got rid of that in later years. These latches are actually generic replacements. I think they're by a D4c. I wanted these because they had the wood trim and they weren't just like that ribbed plastic like the later ones, because I wanted to make this look as original as possible. These did have to get replaced when I got it, because the old ones were just so worn out that they just would not latch down. In fact, even both bottom pieces of the latches were actually broken, so I had to get those replaced. Let's go ahead and pull the motor unit off. Let's go ahead and show you the underside right here. Here is your water separator. This is very similar in design to the later ones, but for whatever reason, Rainbow colored in this separator gray. I don't know why, but
It is the upgraded style separator, so you definitely do have a lot more airflow. There are claims that Rainbow actually changed the spider design, and before they eventually went back to it in the later years when they came with the PN2 power brush, that there were claims that you don't get as much suction and airflow compared to the later models or the early style if you upgrade to the new style separator. Don't know if that's true or not, but all I know is this thing performs about the same as my regular D4c. And speaking of which, there's the model number right there. You can barely see it, but... And also here's the water basin. It's a 2-quart water basin. I do like this wheel caddy design better, so you can better see the water flowing right around there. So anyway, let's go ahead and put the motor unit back on top of the water basin. And latch it down. And reconnect the hose. And now let's go ahead and release the cord. This is a generic replacement cord. Weirdly enough, when I was looking for a replacement, I was expecting to get kind of a dark brown cord, but instead I just got this regular neutral brown color. Now you can tell the cord end is aftermarket, but even though this wasn't the exact kind of cord I want, I decided, well, it's here, so why not just wire it in either way. And so now it's in and it works just fine. And also one more thing, here's the rear separator cap. It's definitely a little bit different of a design compared to the early D4c. Instead, it doesn't have these 2 latches that you can just push on either side and it just pulls straight out. You have to basically hold it in, line it up with these notches right in here, and then twist it to lock it in place. Basically, this end piece is just so you could attach your hose on the end and use it as a blower. Very weird design, but it was somewhat effective. It's not very strong, but at least it gives you somewhat the capability of using it as a blower. So anyway, let's go ahead and turn the motor unit on to show you how it runs. First, I'm going to run it without the power brush. This is before the days when Rainbow eventually added the little trigger on the handle for PN2 models. So let's go ahead and show you how it runs without the power brush. Use the water churning right there. That's just how smooth it runs since I had the motor rebuilt. So now let's go ahead and connect the power brush. And now let's go ahead and give this thing its first official demo. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on and we'll give you a little run around the room. I don't know if you can know this, but since I upgraded the brush roll, I'm not even pushing. And look, it propels itself. You will never see that with canisters. that was just give you an idea of how this runs. Definitely love the feel of this aftermarket brush roll. As you can see, it definitely just pulls the power brush along. And before we end the video, let's go ahead and show it to you in tool mode. Go ahead and disconnect it from the power brush right here. Unfortunately, I only have just the original electric hose itself. It'll be enough just for demonstrating the tools. But one thing I don't like about this is that it still uses the friction fit and didn't move to the latch until the later years with the PN2. So let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Crevice tool. This bare floor tool, I'm going to show you how this connects. Basically, I run out these two extension wands. Basically, the curved end right here with the little notches, you just stick it in upside down so the notches line in, so then you twist it around and now it's locked in place. Connect your little extension wand in like that. Then you're into the wand and now you got a bare floor tool. Of course, this would work a little bit better if that was actually on bare floors. Let's go ahead and disconnect all this. Put this back on the rack. Put it back, put the hose end back in the power brush. Make sure it's tight in there. Yes, it is. Then just connect the cord end, and now you're back to your power brush. Well, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed this video on the Rainbow D4c SE. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.